You cannot blame a citizen for being angry when they see their taxpayer money being stolen, and then when they see their communities being drowned, when they see the flood control projects not working, when they see all of the issues involving our economy, the increasing prices in gas and foods, and when they see the possibility of military escalation, especially in the West Philippine Sea over Taiwan. When they see these things, and they know that even if the government makes a wrong decision, government officials are the ones who would be least affected by it. And that's what angering them. They're not the ones making the decisions, but they're the ones suffering from these wrong decisions. When someone else makes a mistake, and you're the one who has to pay for that mistake, it's natural to expect that you would be the one who's angry.
Hello mga bosses! Welcome to Boss on the Spot. This is our new segment featuring celebrities, influencers, and their lived experience. And for our topic for today, gusto nating itanong, bakit takot ang lumang politika? O baka pwede kong sabihin, bakit takot ang lumang politiko sa bagong bosses?
Yeah. Actually, magandang tayo na.
Yes.
Okay, bosses, today's guest is not your usual politician. This guest became known because of his strange, funny, sometimes controversial, and very unconventional way of doing politics. May mga natutuwa, may naiinis, may nalilito, at may mga nagsasabi na baka ito na ang bagong klase ng politika na hindi pa kayang intindihin ng luma. Today, nasa Boss on the Spot natin si Kiko Barzaga. Kiko, welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome. Okay. So, I have to go ahead. Paano kita i-categorize? Politician, content creator, rebelde, o sakit ng ulo ng lumang politika?
Sakit ng ulo.
Well, I've been called many things, but first and foremost, my primary priority is the meow meows. Meow! I am the meow meow cat. Meow! Meow!
So, sumakit ang ulo ko doon.
Pero unconventional.
Okay,
ah.
unconventional.
Okay. We want to understand you. Hindi lang yung memes, hindi lang yung cats, hindi lang yung controversy. We want to understand the person, the message, and the method.
And we also want to understand why your style connects strongly with younger voters.
Maraming nakakakilala sa iyo through clips, posts, memes, and arguments. Pero kapag walang camera, walang Congress, walang social media, sino ka talaga?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same person as I am off camera. Siguro medyo mas, more relaxed, but who I am on camera and who I am off camera is very similar. Nagmamayaw-meow din ako sa bahay, hindi lang. Hindi lang sa mga news, sa mga interviews. I also meow at home to my cats.
People have a tendency to think that, public figures are always performing.
That
Performance
he's just
di ba?
performing. Oo.
Pero tanong ko sa iyo, saan nagtatapos ang totoong Kiko at saan nagsisimula ang performance? Kasi minsan, aminin natin na, with all of the noise, sometimes nablur yung message.
Yes. Well, there's no real line to it because ultimately everything is the true Kiko, everything that I reveal, and everything is also performance as well. Because every time you wake up, every time you're living your life, you are also performing to the best of your abilities. So it's not a conscious thing, but it's like an unconscious thing that you're doing, that you are acting as yourself. And I'm not acting as someone that's not myself whenever I'm on camera because that's also how I act when I'm not on camera. So,
Okay, so contrary. Contrary
Yes.
to yung sinasabi ng iba, hindi ka nagpapapansin.
Yeah, oo.
or kung nagpapapansin man ako, kung papansin ako sa news or pag nakita nila ako sa FB, ganun din ako sa totoong buhay, papansin din.
Hindi mo sinasadya. Basta natural lang na napapansin ka because of medyo unique yung personality mo.
Yes.
So that leads to my first serious question. Seryoso ng konti. If your politics is not just performance, what is the substance behind all of this noise and controversy that you are bringing to the public?
Well, firstly, the main priority of the noise is that public sentiment. People assume that Congress or the ways laws are passed is based on the approval of Congress, but ultimately it has to first pass through the approval of the public. Once general public sentiment desires a law, that's when a law would be more likely to pass. And that's why I'm getting public sentiment towards a specific direction into passing of such laws, such as when I filed my VAT abolition bill, or when I filed when I filed other bills that seek to decrease or remove taxation in specific areas. What I'm actually advocating for isn't just the removal of those taxations, but against the excessive taxation within our government. And the reasoning for the excessive taxation is due to corruption. If you're increasing taxes while not increasing the amount of government services available, but it's actually decreasing, we're facing a worse economic situation now than we did back then when we were taxed less. Then what is the justification for the increased taxes?
Yeah. So yung mga ganitong approach mo, ang behind that, yung substance is to really push your objectives, your narratives also, na mas madaling maintindihan ng public, if I may
Yes.
shorten that, no?
No, but let's stay there for a bit, no? Medyo i-linker natin yun. Kasi marami nagsasabi na, Kiko, hindi dapat ganyan. Dapat serious, dapat formal. Dapat dignified. Pero ikaw, para ang sagot mo, hindi na tayo pinapakinggan ng tao eh. And I think everybody shares that opinion already. Of course, you have maraming opinionated doon. Either they're trolls or they're the social media comms ng kung sino-sino ang magsasalita. Pero, do you feel na tama yung ginagawa mo?
Yes, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't feel it was right. And to add to that point, kahit naman na maraming nagsasabi na hindi formal yun, kahit tama yung ginagawa ko, mali yung paraan ng paggawa ko.
Unorthodox.
Yes. But what we've been doing, the Philippines has been using the orthodox method for the past few decades, and we have not seen significant improvements. Kailangan talaga natin ng mga bagong, not just necessarily new voices, but new approaches to these problems. And siguro kahit hindi ako maging successful dito, we at least tried to find a different approach into politics, and we at least experimented in various new solutions instead of trying the same political methods that we've tried for the last few decades.
Yeah. No, I guess it's because you're coming from way, way, way left field. It's not just a simple...
Hindi lang yung medyo iba, yung sobrang iba talaga.
home run eh. Di ba?
Medyo may ka-extremehan, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero I like that.
No,
Medyo
but it
fresh
appeals to
eh.
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I listen because, again, bago.
Yes, bago,
Diba?
fresh. Yeah.
Okay. But wait, let's go on. Let's talk about you in the beginning. What's a typical day for you? I mean, from the moment na gumising ka hanggang sa pagtulog, what's a typical day for Kiko Barzaga?
Well, depends kung suspended ako o hindi. I spent half of my time in Congress suspended. So, medyo iba-iba yun. Pero I've been very active. I've been very punctual. Well, hindi naman punctual, but I've been always present in the plenary for my first few months. And then afterwards, nung na-suspend ako, syempre wala na ako doon. So, it really depends because the schedule always shifts. Depende sa magiging schedule ko in Congress, whether or not when I'm suspended, it's practically similar to having no job. And I can't find another job because of the inability to practice other professions while you are an elected official. So ngayon, actually, mas maganda sa akin na expelled ako kasi makakahanap na ako ng mga bagong trabaho. Imbis na maghintay lang na matapos yung suspension para may sahod na ulit.
Okay.
So right now, the typical day is just very random since sobrang daming nangyayari ngayon. We're focusing on so many different things. Just earlier today, earlier today as of the recording of the video, nagkaroon ng Blue Ribbon hearing. Next week may Blue Ribbon hearing na naman ulit, but under a different group. And then it's such a chaotic situation na you can't really properly expect what will happen for the day.
Okay, let's talk about yes, you're very effective social media content. I mean, do you plan your posts? I mean, do you have a strat meeting? May mga
Naka-calendar ba?
kinakalendaryo na ba yan? Or it's just kung may biglang maisip kang, pusa! Okay, post.
Yun, ganun lang. It's all instinctive. It's all just...
Spontaneous.
Yes. Yeah. But I do have people who, yung gumagawa ng content para sa akin, ako lang yung iutusan ko lang sila kung ano yung
concept.
Vision ko, yung concept. It's parang ako yung director, tapos sila yung yung cameraman, yung mga...
They just implement. But
Yeah.
So it's a more controlled narrative.
Yes.
Kasi nanggagaling talaga sa'yo.
Tapos minsan yung sa mga speeches ko, minsan kumakain lang ako, tapos may makita akong news or makita akong may isip ako, and then I will write a speech about it, record ko later that night, and then by the next morning, by the next afternoon, it's posted.
Okay, so ang gandang segue no, yung approach niya sa social media, paano niya dinedirect yung concept na very spontaneous siya. Paggising mo, ito yung naisip mo, tapos papa-execute mo sa team mo, no? So, I am so interested and so curious to know, paano mo naman to in-apply nung campaign period? Walk us through ano yung naging style mo because yun nga, sinabi mo kanina, very unorthodox, di ba? Your fresh voice, fresh approach, fresh strategy. So ano ba yung ginagawa mo noon? Mayroong bang typical na mga shaking hands here and there and left and right, yung mga serbisyong malasakit, pagbabago, yung mga ganong sigaw, ganon din ba ginawa mo?
Yes. Pero yung 2025 campaign, yung most recent for congressman, nakita ko, yung umpisa pa lang nakita ko na sa surveys na like showing na ako. So, inisip ko na, magmamiyaw-miyaw na lang.
Okay.
So, nagmiyaw-miyaw ako, gumawa ako ng giant cat, yung para sa motorcade. And afterwards, medyo, nasanay na yung mga tao sa cat. So, para magbago, para maiba naman, in the last 2 weeks of the campaign, ginawa ko siyang dinosaur.
Lumaki na yung cat.
Asan
Okay,
sa'yo
nag-evolve.
send ko sa'yo yung mga pictures para masama sa
Sige. Well, sorry So, yung may parang ginawan mo ng mascot, may visuals, so bago yun, fresh. Pero, klaro naman yung messaging mo sa publiko when it comes to your mga plataforma, anong intention mo. Hindi. So,
kahit pag nakakita ko ng entablado, meow, 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 meow. Because, doon naman sa distrito ko, within Dasma, kilala na ako eh. And people have known me for the past like 7 years there. Very active na ako. So, kung kailangan ko pa mga panya after 6 years of service, then that just states na hindi talaga ako nagtrabaho noon.
I see. Parang informed na kasi yung constituents doon.
Okay.
Kaya
Based on
hindi
siya.
na kailangan maging parang hard sell, no?
Yeah, if you have to do still the traditional kind of politicking, ibig sabihin na hindi ka naging epektibo
Yeah.
in the years before that, or even your family for that matter.
They've known me for the past 6 years, 7 years. So, yeah, meow, meow lang.
Okay. Don't get us wrong, no? Kasi we asked a lot of people kung anong kanilang impression sa'yo. And then, again, like tulad ng sinabi ni Ann, many people are impressed, again, at yung bagong politika. But at the same time, andun pa rin yung iba na nagsasabi na, Congress is not entertainment. And minsan may mga nagsasabi kasi, your style, happens to cheapen the institution. But what do you say to those people?
Well, I think there are individuals within Congress that act formal that damage the institution far more than I did. For example, Martin Romualdez, was he a net positive for the reputation of Congress? I think he has done more to damage the reputation of the Philippine Congress than I have. He has done more to damage it than I could ever have in my entire life. Even if I were to return to Congress, even if I were to run there, even if I were to serve like 20 terms and continue what I've been doing, I still would not be able to damage it as much as he has with the 2025 budget. So, there are harmless ways of damaging it, or there are ways people interpret as damaging it. But if you were to become a part of the silent members of Congress, especially with the large flood control corruptions, that's far more damaging than speaking out in a way that people think is unprofessional, from my perspective at least.
Okay, so this is where old politics struggles to understand you kasi, no? You admit your style is not traditional, very unorthodox, but my question to you is, should public service adjust to the times, these changing times, or should young politicians like you adjust to the institution?
Well, it's not whether or not they should, because should would be more of a moral issue. It's about whether or not they will. Would politicians like me be more electable or be more desired by the public versus politicians who act like what generally is considered normal for politicians? And you can also see it with Leviste. Other politicians who are acting outside of what's normally expected from Congress, they actually have large surges in their popularity. It's because the public is tired of seeing the same types of people within Congress. And now, they are willing to try a new style and a new generation of public officials.
That's a fair answer. But, kasi kung lahat na lang i-adjust sa personality ng bagong henerasyon, I mean, mawala rin yung iniisip lang seriousness ng public office. Pero kung walang i-adjust ng institution,
Well, magbabago.
Namang lalayo ang tao. I mean, the hardest part there is winning the people back at this point in time.
Yes.
Now, that is important because what I hear is this. Your politics is not trying to look respectable to all politicians. Your politics is trying to become understandable to people who no longer believe politicians.
Tama ba
Is
yun?
that a fair statement?
Yes, that's very it's an accurate way of observing it, because it's not necessarily my fault for that. It's that the number of people we can see it in the surveys about trust ratings of Congress, of the current administration. There are plenty of people who no longer believe in politics, in Philippine politics in general, and the fact that the administration, not just but the Philippine government itself, has allowed that number to increase to that point would ultimately lead to people like me emerging, people who are actually disillusioned by the whole issue of by the whole promises of the government. Just disinterested and just look at every single piece of information released by the government with disbelief, with distrust, because right now we can no longer trust the Philippine government. That's an actual. The Philippine people no longer trust the Philippine government, or an overwhelming majority of the Philippine people no longer believe that the Philippine government itself is a trustworthy institution. And with that type of public sentiment, more and more people who are against the current norms within the government will emerge, and those people will get elected because those people are far more relatable than the people who are so intertwined with the government or so used to the traditional style of politics that we've had.
Watching the proceedings nung saan they took a vote para dun sa pag-expel you from Congress, you could see from those who voted no, they were very, very vocal. And while they say, of course, those who voted yes was overwhelming, I mean, we also have to take into perspective na marami dyan sa kanila voted along loyalties, friendships, party lines. But you're not without your supporters who are
Yes.
far older than you are and have been in the game for far longer. You do have converts. You do have people who now
Not
echo.
just young people,
No,
not just
I mean,
young
like,
politicians.
Marami dyan
Yeah.
na matatanda na
Yeah.
and have been in the game for a long time. But they're echoing a lot of your sentiments and a lot of your statements.
And defended him during the expulsion
Yes. No, but
proceeding.
that's why when they're not in front of when they're not casting their vote or they're not in front of a microphone, I mean, you have a lot of them come and say, Kiko, pasensya ka na ha. Partido kasi.
Yes, madaming mga ganun. And naintindihan ko din naman because there were similar situations, especially during the impeachment vote, where kailangan talaga nilang i-prioritize yung distrito nila, yung partido nila, or yung party list nila. It's very, we're in a very chaotic situation now, and not siding with the administration is detrimental to one's political career. So, understandable naman yun. Hindi ka naman sinisisi yung mga nag-yes vote.
Yeah, so I'd just like to analyze yung sinabi niya kanina, yung topic natin, yung sa approach niya, very unorthodox, pati sa campaign niya, how also he uses social media for posting whatever comes to his mind. And for me, ang analogy ko doon, may great shift na nangyari, from probably two elections batches ago to what we have currently experiencing right now, na para siyang shift in using a certain application. Kung yung dati, yung mga tao sanay lang sa certain media or medium, ngayon, may mga gusto na rin at meron na ring mga ibang perspective yung mga botante natin, how they would want to digest information. And I think yun yung nakikita nilang fresh kay ex-congressman.
Ex-con.
Ex-con, no?
Ex-con.
Hindi ex-con.
Hindi ex-con.
Hindi
Ex-con.
ex-con, tandaan natin. Ex-con.
Never convicted,
Never.
but expelled.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the first time in Philippine history kasi, well, no, yung kay Teves in hiding siya So wala pang court, There was no conviction if I remember correctly. He was hiding out. He was a fugitive outside the country nung na-expel siya. So, I'm the first one without any convictions na na-expel from Congress.
Now let's talk about your audience, the millennials, Gen Z. I mean, why do they respond to your specific style? Kasi older people sometimes dismiss them. Sinasabi, online lang yan. Meme lang yan. Keyboard warriors lang yan. But online sentiment now can move real politics. So, what do you think, Governor? What is it, aside just from your style, is it also is it the ability to use the same language that they use today that allows you to connect a lot stronger?
Yes, people find me very relatable, and that's one of the main campaign points in every politician. That's that they always try to be relatable to the people, and the more they progress, for example, pag nag-umpisa ka as kapitan tapos naging vice mayor, mayor ka, naging congressman, the more you progress, the less relatable you become to the people. Kasi hindi mo na nakakita yung mga tao, hindi ka na nakapunta sa barangays, mga events. So, it's kind of the opposite. For example, pag athlete ka or pag doktor ka, the better you are at your job, the more you improve. But in politics, the more you improve, the worse you would get your job because the further you would be from the public sentiment, the less relatable you would become to the people.
Mas detached.
Mas madedetach ka pag tumataas yung position mo.
Yeah.
And that's what I've tried to do. I try to keep myself as relatable to the people as I can despite my increasing positions.
So, you think yung mga old politicians are afraid or threatened by young voters na iba na yung outlook nila, iba na yung demand, iba na yung gusto nila or nire-require nila of the new politicians?
Well, to be completely honest, sa tingin ko takot din sila sa technology kasi hindi nila alam kung paano gamitin yun. And they are afraid that within their respective districts or within their cities, within their in the next elections, they could be facing people or opponents who are capable of using that technology, who are good with social media, who's good with relating to the younger voters, and not just younger, there are older people that also use social media that are good with relating to these people, and the older politicians will end up losing to the younger ones.
Because before, you have to admit that yung machinery before was you control the narrative through local leaders, operators, media access, again, posters, alliances. Pero ngayon, one clip can destroy a carefully crafted image. One young person can ask the question nobody in the room wants to ask. And then, that's when you see the shift in power.
Yes.
But, Kiko, hindi ba dangerous din yan? Kasi online culture can reward anger, speed, and insult. Sometimes the loudest post wins, even when it's not the best argument. So, how do you make sure that your politics does not become rage bait?
What do you mean? Rage bait?
Minsan kasi yung all that anger that you see, the viciousness on online, sometimes it has a tendency to really drown out the true message.
Yeah.
You know, so people would rather, I have to admit also when I see a lot of negativity in the way they answer a lot of questions we post, medyo, you get jolted. For a moment, you're forgetting about what is the message that you're trying to share.
And it solicits more anger
Yeah.
rather than the actual message.
So
no?
the message disappears.
Yes.
The anger that people get, or the anger that's reflected whenever I post something that is provocative or something that elicits an emotional response, that's not necessarily something that I intentionally provoke. It's something that's also within human nature. They would not be angry if there was nothing to base that anger upon outside of my post. There would be, if they do not believe that there is sufficient supporting reasons for why I would post something, then they would not be angry about it. If I just said something about the flood control, they would not be angry just because I said it. They also are angry because a part of them is reflected on that, a part of what happened there and how they're involved in it because they also pay their taxes.
I'd like to follow on that. About rage bait, is it do you think it's because generally people distrust government? Therefore, you speaking, becoming a voice of reason as you may think you are, do you think they also distrust you because you're part of the government? That whatever post you put out there, it will solicit rage or anger.
Possibly, but I was previously part of the government. I'm no longer now. But yes, even former government officials are also met in the same light where people naturally just distrust the government now. And I wouldn't blame them. So the government has done so many things these past few years that would elicit that type of distrust from the general public.
Well, there's two aspects here kasi yung isa, hindi naman kasi yung dapat idinadaan sa galit kapag gusto mong harapin ang isang issue. No, but at the same time, you cannot use decorum
Yes.
para pagtakpan ang accountability because, sometimes some of the nicest, or so they seem, or pinaka-polite, um, wag ka rin masyadong madadala kasi baka hindi mo alam ninanakawan ka na pala. Pero by virtue of yung kanyang decorum,
You cannot blame a citizen for being angry when they see their taxpayer money being stolen, and then when they see their communities being drowned, when they see the flood control projects not working, when they see all of the issues involving our economy, the increasing prices in gas and foods, and when they see the possibility of military escalation, especially in the West Philippine Sea over Taiwan, when they see these things, and they know that even if the government makes a wrong decision, government officials are the ones who would be least affected by it. And that's what is angering them. They're not the ones making the decisions, but they're the ones suffering from these wrong decisions. When the Blue Ribbon Committee is incapable of implicating Martin Romualdez, then that decision was not one made by them. It was made by the politicians in power during that time. But they're the ones who are being affected by it. When someone else makes a mistake, and you're the one who has to pay for that mistake, it's natural to expect that you would be the one who's angry.
So, is it safe to say that currently decorum sometimes is weaponized to silence the uncomfortable questions?
Yes, that's also a way to see it because you cannot really expect people to be civilized in the point where civility has just gone out the window.
no, you have to admit kasi decorum does have value. But institutions also need rules. Pero hindi pwedeng kanya-kanya. Pero kung decorum lang ang mabilis na ipatupad habang ang corruption mabagal, tahimik at paikot-ikot, doon nawawala ang tiwala ng tao.
Yeah, I agree. Pero kailangan ko rin itanong to, no? Does the new generation also need to mature politically? Kasi minsan, mabilis mag-cancel, mabilis magalit, mabilis maniwala, mabilis din maghusga. How do you speak to your own audience about that?
I think maturity, the assumption that maturity would mean that you are more palatable or more amicable to the decisions of the government is fundamentally wrong. Maturity is being able to take responsibility, not just for yourself, but also for the actions done by your own government. Be willing to call it out when it has done something wrong.
When we talk about different ways of allowing people to sidestep certain issues, you have things like what's happening at the Senate right now. But when you do see a lot of the comments that I've come across on social media, you can see that there are a lot of people saying, wait, one issue at a time. Let's go back to the flood control problem. Everybody now is so focused on the Senate and nobody's actually asking, wait, we haven't resolved yung issue na yan. So I guess right now it's politics is becoming extremely manipulative, and the people don't know anymore what to think.
Yes. What people can focus on multiple issues at the same time. The problem is that the issues were not solved. It was not resolved within an acceptable amount of time. It's been many months, and still no real no one's been convicted for the flood control. And right now, more issues are always expected to emerge. That's already given. When you're running when you're part of national or even local governments, there will always be issues. but you have to solve those issues within a given amount of times so the issues don't pile up. It's like parang homework lang yan. Pag hindi mo ginawa yung isa, next week meron ka ulit. Tapos dami lang yan, patong-patong lang. And they were not able to solve the flood control issue. Now they have multiple issues at the same time. They were not able to solve the gas crisis. Now we still have the gas crisis and the Senate issue. So we're just very slow at solving these problems.
So you think that disruption that you're creating inside the lower house can mature into an actual leadership how they define leadership?
Possibly.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely it's a better step. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a step in the right direction, but if the steps that Congress is taking now, since the steps that Congress is taking now is in the wrong direction, it's closer to the right direction than the steps that Congress has been taking.
Let's talk about the institution. You were not just an outsider looking in. I mean, you actually had a seat. You were elected.
Yes.
And so when you challenged old politics, you kind of you challenged it from inside the room. Hindi yung nasa labas lang at nagmamarcha. Did you, for a moment, understand or realize how strongly the institution would push back?
Well, yes, I expected that.
Do you think the reaction was about again discipline, or was it about fear?
Well, if it was about discipline, then the same would be applied to my other colleagues or to everyone else who have tarnished the reputation of Congress. Though no one there has actually been expelled or suspended due to corruption, which is a far bigger issue. So from that, we can conclude that it's not actually about discipline.
Yeah.
Is it about fear? Then
I think, no?
maybe.
Kung hindi
If
yung
that's
isa,
the only other option left, then it
that's
would
the other
definitely be
option.
more about fear than discipline.
Kasi parang hindi nga fair.
Yeah.
Kung dapat na disiplina yung iba, bakit siya lang?
Siya lang.
Bakit isolated? So if it's not discipline, it could
It
be,
has been,
or
yes,
Why have
largely.
there been no
Largely.
suspensions on those involved in corruptions? Or even worse, why are they incapable of suspending or expelling those involved in corruption? And
Congress,
also,
sorry.
actually, to add to that, Zaldico, even after he has fled the country, was never suspended or expelled by Congress. He never had an ethics complaint. So that's also something that people could begin questioning. Is that the politicians who have fled the country are in hiding. The Congress is not capable of doing the same thing to them, because in order to get 2/3 vote requires a large amount of initial capital, political capital, in order to do so. So even if there were to be increased proceedings, even if the Blue Ribbon actually succeeds in getting several congressmen convicted or filing cases against them, or even just filing cases against them with reasonable chance of conviction, Congress would still not be able to suspend or expel those members.
So you think this punishment, no, your expulsion, is it because they think you think you're wrong, or is it because you were effective?
Maybe it's the effective part.
Okay, no. Now let's be fair to the other side. Institutions cannot function if every member of or every one of its member behaves however they want. I mean, Congress has rules, sessions have order, public office requires a certain seriousness. Can both be true? Can there be real corruption issues and at the same time real concerns about conduct?
Well, that's true. It's possible that there are issues involving my conduct and issues involving corruption simultaneously, but then that puts it into question. How could they resolve a decision on my conduct before they resolve a decision involving Congress's corruption? If everyone acted like me, I think Congress would be far better than if everyone acted like Martin Romualdez.
Now, well, but we're talking proportionally and consistency. No, I want to underline that because citizens, they're not stupid. They ask. I mean, bakit ang bilis kapag disiplina? Bakit ang bagal kapag corruption? Bakit ang tapang kapag kalaban? Bakit ang tahimik kapag kaalyat.
Well, from my perspective, kasi natatakot din sila eh. Since once one member of Congress is expelled for corruption, then that makes any member of Congress who is involved in the same corruption also possibly expelled. Hindi lang isa-isa yun. And that will also set a precedent into the future. Like if one specific part of corruption is that's why they're expelled, then that could also mean that all kinds of corruption would be enough grounds for expulsion.
And
And
I
yun
think,
yun na-
Kiko,
and-
yeah,
yes.
sorry. Sorry for cutting you. I personally think this is bigger than you. The
Yeah,
public is
yeah.
not just watching you as Kiko Barzaga. They are watching how power protects itself.
No, and you also have to admit, the message they sent via Kiko Barzaga is a message they sent to each and every congressman there.
Na kapag ka,
We could do it to someone like Kiko Barzaga. Don't think that hindi namin magagawa sa inyo. So, time to toe the line.
Okay, Kiko, do you feel betrayed, punished, relieved, or validated na effective ka kaya ka pinatalsik?
Well, definitely validated, because if they needed to do that, then that means that what I've done is effective. It's kind of like when they have to make a martyr out of someone, when they have to kill someone in order to silence them, then that only proves their message is true.
So, what you
And
say
I-
now to the... Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I hold my message far more important than my position in Congress.
okay, so what you say now to the voters who feel that their votes were removed along with you?
With
Well,
your seat, no?
I'll be back anyway
Okay.
in 2028. Kung sakaling magkakaroon ng election sa 2028, we're still not sure about that.
Okay. Well, that's
Well,
important because,
we'll see.
anger, I mean, I'm sure his constituents are angry. You know, unang-una, they would have never voted him
Kasi
into
inelect
office.
siya eh.
Yeah, they elected him. But then anger can go two ways. You know, it can create involvement or it can create hopelessness. Ayaw natin yung, of course, yung hopelessness. Kasi kapag nawalan ng gana ang tao, panalo na naman ang lumang sistema.
Yeah, and let's go to the title of this episode. Bakit takot ang lumang politika sa bagong boses? Is old politics really afraid of new voices?
Takot sila because I am the scary posa.
Okay, so the issue is not age. The issue is obedience.
Yes, hindi kasi obedience.
Oo.
And you can be older but still open to new politics if you listen, adjust, and respect citizens. That's a good distinction that we are trying to make right now. This is not young versus old. This is controlled politics versus citizen-facing politics. So, Edu, what do you think?
No, I'm curious now to see. You know what? Strip away the cats, the jokes, the memes, the fights, the headlines. Kiko, what do you stand for?
Yeah.
Well, you can't really strip away the cats from that. I stand for animal welfare above all else. The cats were there for me. The dogs were there for me. They were there for me when the people were not. So I am the meow meow man.
But Kiko, what would you do differently? Looking back.
Differently. Looking back, nothing. I already did this expecting to lose my position and possibly far more. And I would still have done the same thing.
What would you never change?
Depende. Baka mamaya aso na yung favorite ko. So awaw na ako. But for now, what will I never change? Nothing. Humans change by nature. And humans are naturally fluid creatures. They adapt to different situations, to different circumstances, and to the different way society evolves. So I can't promise anything that will not change.
Okay, so what would be your message to the old politicians? Yan.
See you 2028. Medyo wag kayo masyadong ma-stress dyan. Baka ma-high blood kayo, ma-stroke. Especially yung iba doon, mga 80 years old na, nasa Congress pa rin. Consider retirement because clearly the current system of Congress is not working.
Okay. I'm sure you've talked to your legal counsel. There's nothing to stop you from running again
Yes.
in the next election. You know, regardless of the expulsion, that's nothing. I mean, expulsion from this Congress,
Yes.
but you're still eligible to run
To
in
run.
the succeeding Congress.
Yes.
Elections,
And
rather.
I'm actually still eligible to run for the special elections that will be held in my district. So pwede akong tumakbo ulit this August.
Oh,
So I can
I see.
take that. But I'm still thinking about it since I'm too lazy for election. So we'll see.
But sometimes some people, again, you see a lot of it. Walang pagbabago. Politics in this country, hopeless.
Yes.
What do you say?
Well, but we try. And ganun, it's a very uphill battle. There's so many corrupt people, especially now. And we do what we can. We do what's best. And if not, there are always other countries.
Last question for me, Kiko. Are you the future of politics, or are you just a warning sign?
Well, I'm not the future of politics yet, but I think I think I've shaped it in a way that has fundamentally changed how Philippine politics is.
Okay, help us complete this sentence. The future of Philippine politics is.
Meow meow. Meow.
Okay. Well, good luck. Boses! Kayo ang humusga. Si Kiko ba ay reckless, reformist, rebelde, or simply a sign na nagbabago na ang political language ng bansa? One thing is clear. Old politics can no longer assume that people will listen just because someone has a title. Today's citizens have their own platforms, their own language, their own anger, and their own way of detecting scripted leadership. But let me also say this clearly. If public office cannot tolerate new voices, then maybe the problem is not the voice. Maybe the problem is those in public office.
This has been Bosses on the Spot.
And today, ex-Cong
Ex-
Kiko Barzaga
Was on the spot.
Meow meow.
Well, anong tingin mo dun sa interview? Interesting.
Yeah, that was fresh.
Oo.
Marami ako natutunan na. Medyo may
Yeah.
mga surprising facts tayo and information.
No, tsaka, paninindigan niya talaga.
Oh.
I mean, wala siya pinagsisihan, and he also realizes na yung kanyang estilo, bago talaga.
At may consequence.
Yes.
He admitted, no?
He admitted.
He admitted also yung mga isa kong andun yung na ano ba yung totoo doon sa lahat ng mga criticism, sabi niya that he's admitting he's crazy.
Oo.
I mean,
Yeah.
figuratively, we know that, yung kanyang approach,
Oh.
yung kanyang style was
We were
really
talking medically here.
crazy.
We're just talking yung talagang
Yeah.
his chosen style.
Out of this world,
Oo,
parang
para
ganyan.
ihatid yung mensahe. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought it was fresh, even though definitely, baby boomer ako eh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Gen Z, I'm not a millennial, but I could see na may sense.
Yeah. And I think it's more of shock yung pakiramdam ng greater politicians, the majority, no? Kaya yung reaction sa kanya is medyo iba din.
Oo, di ba? Kasi pagpasok, dapat maintain yung status quo.
May
Wag-
decorum.
don't rock the boat.
Kailangan statesman.
Oo, kuno.
Yeah.
Don't rock the boat.
Yeah.
Diba?
So, pag-usapan natin, ano ba yung mga strongest takeaways natin dun sa medyo lengthy conversation with ex-Kong Kiko?
Anong medyo lengthy? Medyo lengthy talaga. No, but, I think one thing na talagang tinamaan ako is the problem with old politics is that it mistakes silence for respect.
Yeah. Okay. Sa akin naman, if the institution moves fast on discipline but slow on corruption, citizens will notice. Kaya daming ingay.
Yeah, but the real question is not whether Kiko is noisy. The question is, why did the noise connect? Talagang boom.
Yeah. May impact, no?
Yeah,
And young voters are not shallow because they understand memes. Maybe old politicians are shallow because they only understand machinery.
Which just means to say that a loud style can open the door, but only substance can keep people inside the conversation.
And this is not young versus old. We're not talking
Yeah.
about that. We're not comparing. This is controlled politics versus citizen-facing politics.
Correct. And then also, ang isa sa mga nakuha ko ron was the fact that, if public office cannot tolerate new voices, then maybe the problem is not the voice. Maybe the problem is those in public office.
This has been BOSsES. Ang boss,
My
may
bosses.